Whew, President Biden is hearing it from all sides over his handling of the Israel-Hamas war. Republican Senator Tom Cotton, who's on Intelligence and Armed Services Committee, says Biden needs to focus more on the enemy.
I have to say, it seems like President Biden puts more pressure on Israel than he does on Hamas and its hosts in Qatar. Part of the reasons why we got to this point where we had to have a 4-day pause is the Biden administration has consistently behind the scenes insisted that Israel's government take steps that are clearly not in Israel's interest. For instance, providing fuel into Gaza, not just water or food or medicine, but fuel, which may as well be providing them with ammunition.
Some on the far left of Biden's own political party say he's too soft on Israel. His overall approval among Democrats now is 75% in one new poll. But it drops to 60% on his handling of the war. Republican Congressman Mike Waltz of Florida, member of the Armed Services, Foreign Affairs, and Intelligence Committees, also a former Green Beret commander. We appreciate his being with us and always for your service as well. So where does the far left want Biden to be on a bunch of serial killers? Like, they want him to hang out with them?
Yeah, Harris, but I think you have to appreciate the propaganda war and the psychological warfare that Hamas is, I think, fairly successfully waging here. I mean, they're presenting themselves right now as some kind of humanitarian, as you have these Hallmark type moments as they hand the hostages back. They presented themselves as the victim. Can I just point out one number that is just driving me nuts? Is this casualty figure that the mainstream media has taken on as gospel, this 12,000 to 14,000 Palestinian casualties compared to the 1,500 Israelis. Why are we taking that number and running with it? We wouldn't believe that coming from ISIS. We certainly wouldn't believe it coming from Putin. But yet the media is running that, which makes it seem like a disproportionate response. And then you have years and years of kind of victimhood and the Palestinians as part of the oppressed. And you're seeing all of that come to fruition right now. And the left is giving Biden hell. And when you have leaks coming from the White House saying we're taking on a lot of political water here, I worry about Biden getting weak-kneed in its support of Israel.
So I'll pile on a little bit more. You talk about, some in the media, the legacy and liberal media, taking Hamas's word for everything or anything.
Right.
But we know that there were just unthinkable, unspeakable sex crimes, even with children, on October 7th. Where are the women at the United Nations? Where are these groups that say that they care about what happens to women and children in particular, all groups of people? I mean, maybe I missed something over Thanksgiving, but I don't think so.
I've horribly seen this my entire career, from the Taliban to ISIS to Al-Qaeda and Hamas. They use rape as a weapon. It is grotesque.
But against Israeli and Jewish women, I mean, it's silent.
Yeah, no, that's right. But then where are they also on just the abuse of women, the abuse of minorities, the abuse of the LGBTQ community under the thumb of the Hamas dictatorship? So it makes no sense. Don't ask me to ascribe logic to it, but I can tell you this divide on the left is running deep and it's running fast. And again, I worry about the steadfastness. But the longer-term issue, the biggest thing that Biden could do for Israel, and Senator Cotton was absolutely right, is shift its policy on Iran. No matter how successful Israel is tactically against Hamas, as long as Iran is flush with cash, they are going to continue pumping in arms and supplies, fighters, training. And that's where we have to return to maximum pressure.
But they've made money with this administration
Ayatollah's coffers
since this started. I mean, Biden has given them billions more since October 7th. I mean, it's more than just policy. It's a complete mindset. It's a focus. A significant escalation, and I want to get to this with you. It's military and the attacks on our U.S. men and women stationed in the region in the Middle East. The U.S. stopped the seizure of an Israel-linked ship off the coast of Yemen. U.S. Navy personnel aboard the USS Mason responded to a distress call from an Israeli-linked ship after it was targeted by hijackers off the coast of Yemen. Sources are telling Fox News 5 armed men have been arrested and are now being questioned by the U.S. military. Houthi forces, those who are Iran-backed out of Yemen, then fired 2 ballistic missiles at USS Mason after those arrests. We are now up to 73 attacks by Iran proxies on American forces in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. Mark Dubowitz, CEO of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, with us.
President Biden probably deserves an A for his Hamas policy, but I think he deserves an F for his Iran policy, because behind the scenes in Tehran is the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, who really is orchestrating all of this. I mean, he has provided hundreds of millions of dollars to Hamas, billions of dollars to Hezbollah, the other terrorist organization currently fighting Israel on the northern border, to the Houthi terrorists in Yemen who are firing missiles at Israel as we speak.
Wow. Did you hear Dubowitz? He said President Biden deserves an A for the way he's dealing with Hamas.
Well, but let's go with the F on Iran, because that's the long game.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right. And here's what everybody has to understand. 2 things. One, every missile, the training for how to fire them, the supplies, everything, whether it's Hezbollah or the Houthis, comes from Iran, and it's being funded by global oil prices. I mean, that it is as simple as that. And again, part of the reversal we have to see here, Harris, is the White House continues, watch their language, to talk about avoiding escalation. We want to de-escalate. The more they try to de-escalate, the more they're hesitant and recalcitrant, the more they're actually allowing Iran the space to escalate the situation. What do you do with the schoolyard bully? You can't keep giving him lunch money hoping he'll go away. No. At some point, you've got to punch him in the nose, whether that's through cyber or whether it's through some of the Iranian IRGC officials in the region or on Iran itself. Until you raise costs on them, they're going to continue to do this.
I want everybody just to take a look at that map again that we keep showing with those 73 attacks. An A from a Hamas perspective. I mean, they must love this president, based on what Dubowitz just said. Well, I mean, it's unbelievable. 73 attacks. If you attacked anything 73 times, if somebody attacked your car 73 times, there'd be cries in the street, oh, my goodness, get to that car. These are our people.
Yeah. Well, look, FDD is great. I don't know that I'd give them an A, because right now the Hamas terrorists are dictating the terms. They are deciding who gets released, when they get released, how long the ceasefire drags out, and they're going to drag it out because it benefits them. The longer this goes, the more they can rest, rearm, refit, reestablish their command and control, and get ready for the next round of fighting. Sadly, the longer this ceasefire goes, and look, I get it, we have to support those families, and it's a difficult choice. But the longer it goes, the more Israeli soldiers are going to suffer in the future, sadly and unfortunately.
And some of our own who are stationed around the region. All right, Congressman Waltz, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.